everyone, and welcome to REZOcast, episode 64. This is Lego, and I've got with me Hove, Mana, Triton, and this week we have our special guest from Destiny Lorecast, AnonPig. Thanks so much for coming on, man. How's your week been?
Pretty actually amazing week, actually.
Yeah, Osiris and everything, huh?
Yeah, Masterworks, like crazy, and I'm sorry to the people. Like, I don't know what the actual drop rates are, but like, mine's been like 1 in 6. So
that's
pretty close. That's pretty good. I
1
feel
in
like
10, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that 1 in 6? Okay, here's what I wonder is the difference. Like, is it
1 in 6 rank ups, not 1 in 6 Rahul?
Yeah,
Rahul has not given me shit. I don't even consider him. He's not involved with Masterworks. It's Zavala, Banshee, and Shax.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, it's been a lot of I got some from ranking at Gunsmith stuff, but it took forever and they were really far in between. What really got them for me is if you do your milestones for the week, like that's where they're really at. I feel like whatever in-game kind of content you're doing, that's the stuff that really gets it for you.
That's the business.
So, yeah, have you got anything that is like, yes, this is the Masterworks I want, or are you just building up to dismantle to get something you really want to make it?
My first Masterworks was an origin story, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm done." Like that's all I need.
Oh my god,
I beat the game.
And then immediately after that, I had a cluster bomb rocket launcher with a wider blast radius than Curtain Call, and then I got a Uriel's Gift, and then I got a Better Devils, and I'm like, "Oh, this okay, just give me them all. That's fine." Like it's cool.
Gosh, you are Twitter right now. Then I feel like everybody on Twitter is like, "Look at my Antiope D. Look at my, this or that," and I can't get anything.
And just because I love to be that asshole, turned in 20-ish faction rank ups to Banshee, and I got 4 Antiopes.
Gee, what? 4?
I got 4 of those and 3 Warlock swords, and I didn't even know what the hell they were. I was like, "What sword is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a Warlock," and one of them was a Masterwork.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. Hove, how's your week been, man?
About the same. I mean, with a lot less Masterworks, but good, man. I'm really digging the stuff that they've changed, the Masterworks. It's one of those things where I think all of us are kind of like, "Oh, this is all good step in the right direction. We need some more with it, but it's a good start." And to be honest, for a start, it's been really great. I mean, it's kind of giving you the grind back. It's kind of giving you a reason to play. I've really been enjoying it. So it kind of sucked that I tried to gather some people to do the raid lair today because I haven't had a chance, and everybody was busy like watching TV, and I was like, "Really, guys? Thanks."
Well, just to be fair, that is
not
what
really
you
mad,
did
though,
to me last night whenever we were playing together, and you were like, "Oh, I'm going to go watch The Punisher." And I was like, "What?" And I thought we were playing
I had been playing for like 6 hours.
Just saying, it's the same kind of thing.
No, it's not.
You don't know their lives. Maybe they were playing for 6 hours.
Yeah, maybe so.
No, you don't.
Yes,
no.
Yes, be on my side. Yes.
Just be against Hove. That's all we care about.
Mana, what about you, man?
Man had a good week. He shaved.
He's covering up. I saw his hand over his.
I was playing with my little bit of hair left, but anyways, I shaved because there's the thing where I look like a thumb when I'm, this for some reason my chat likes to rip me apart, and then someone, RezLife, I say, okay, I'm only going to shave my face if someone donates me $100, so he does it. So I'm sick of that. So I'm like, it's going to have to be $200. Now no one's going to do it. He donates $200 for me.
That sounded like a scheme to me, man.
I'm just like, what is this? Because they know I hate it. I hate shaving. So that's why I look like this. I finally got around to shaving my face. But anyways, a lot less Masterworks works or whatever it's called going on for me. I haven't even touched Destiny since the whole laser tag experience.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you what, man.
It really burnt you out.
Get back into it. I was very like, there's no reason. And this week's been really good. Like, it feels really good to play again for the first time.
It's not like I haven't wanted to. It's just I've been playing, like, the past couple days, I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins. I really wanted to finish that. Like, I've been trying to get through all my single-player games so I can then go on to grinding whatever multiplayer game I have.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So But yeah, everyone's posting all the weapons and goodies they've been getting. I'm just sitting here like, crap, maybe I should actually, grind
I
some
mean,
time.
also within the last 7 days, we've had the raid lair come out because that was the day after our podcast last week, and I saw you jumped in with that with some people, didn't you, Mana?
No, I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay, you just play laser tag. I couldn't remember.
I literally only played laser tag over the weekend a couple times, and that's it. It was fun. I honestly thought it was really fun. Everyone just blasting each other in like 0.2 seconds with laser beams.
Yes.
So, I don't know what it was.
I thought it was pretty cool too. Triton, what about you? How's your week?
Oh, I was about to say, other than that, I haven't touched Destiny.
So when Mana was describing that, like the shave bed or whatever, you guys seen Knocked Up, that movie where it's like the inverse of that? They promise they'll pay his like whole rent if he doesn't shave for a year, and it's kind of like a sub thing for the rest of the movie. So that's what that kind of distracted me on my thoughts around my week.
Being knocked up the entire
But nothing about Knocked Up.
Knocking me up.
Otherwise, the Destiny week has been okay. Haven't done a lot of the Masterworks, but I did actually try the raid lair over the weekend with Yam, Ketch, and Crazy Sniper actually from the clan. So
nice.
They needed help on the boss, so I think I was like barely high enough light level, like 315, to like help them a little bit. We were able to do it for like an hour and a half. I never ended up being of much use, obviously. So we didn't get too far, but I did learn a little bit of the mechanics at least. And it was fun. The environments were cool. I didn't get to do it back to front or anything like that, but it was kind of a different feel. So
what light level should you be to attempt it?
I actually don't know. 320.
I thought it was only 300. I thought it started at.
I guess. So.
Yeah, I think you're good to go. It says it starts at 300. I don't know if sometimes raids do that and then it gets harder.
They scale up. But no, I mean, it makes sense. Like, if you're supposed to be 300, Triton at his skill level would have to be like 330 to like be as good as the rest of us. So, I mean, that makes sense that it's 330.
That's probably true.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I did very much at all. I think I was very comfortable being like just shoot thing guy. So that was nice. Like, I didn't have really any real responsibilities. But then like as people were dying, I was like, am I shooting that? Oh, that's true. I mean, I'm fighting very hard not to talk about like Jones over more right now, because that was actually a big part of my week, or the announcement of like kind of the 20th century, like Fox and Disney merger potential. So, and what that means going into the 2018 election. So I'm fighting against it because that was a very big part of my week in discussion and just general topics.
Did you just say, wait. Did you just say that Disney and Fox, Disney buying out Fox has anything to do with the 2018 election?
Well, it does. So the elections, the midterm elections. So
just a yes or no. I don't want to hear why.
Well, it's yes, because everyone thinks that a blue wave is going to come into Congress in 2018 with all the elections coming up, and usually consolidations of that nature have come out and happened under recent democratic regimes and administrations, consolidations of power. So AT&T buying Time Warner was blocked recently. But I think that the Fox Disney thing could happen if that's what ends up happening in Congress during 2018.
It is interesting that Triton knows about these things and the rest of us are just like,
I hate how he knows so much about everything.
Except
that's
Destiny.
A very big thing, though. That's a very big that could be a very real thing, and that would be cool because Disney's also getting the majority stake of Hulu when that happens. So that would be a cool thing.
I need to talk to Triton about my healthcare after this because I'm sure he could help me out.
Well, let's not do healthcare because that reform is not like
not now. And this is post podcast.
But Destiny wise, no, I've experienced the DLC. I got to do a little bit of the raid lair. I've seen everybody do the Masterworks, so I'm really anxious to get in there. But actually, Tinks got me into the Division again. So her being on the podcast last week, I actually dove a ton into Division and got to play with
a lot of
friends.
people.
Yeah,
jump on over to the Division.
And it's pretty good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. So
gives me a lot of hope for when Destiny keeps turning around that people will come back. By the way,
yeah,
that's good precedent. But yeah, as far as the Masterworks, I only got I think 2, and they both kind of sucked. But it's nice to be able to, dismantle them for stuff, which is cool. I got some rocket launcher, Blue Shift. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good.
Awful.
No, it's not. Did you just infuse? Oh,
I just dismantled it for cores, and then I got the Hotlanta D.
I like that one.
Oh, I dismantled it. I think it's actually called like the Ant-Atlanta, but I call it the Hotlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah, it's the Hawk ASMG with the big silencer on the front.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait,
I want to
is
try
that the one everyone was
good.
comparing to like the new Antiope or something?
Oh,
yeah. And new
Wait, you didn't
nice.
like it?
I don't know. I used it for like a minute. Was like, I never heard of the Hotlanta, so I dismantled it.
Oh my gosh, I thought it looked really cool. I really wanted to try that
I
one
don't
out.
like
I haven't got it
Hake
yet, though.
SMGs. I just don't.
You don't like the Antiope either, though?
I've never gotten that, but the New City, like I got that.
I was gonna say, have you tried New City? Because that's a really interesting one.
I don't know. I don't like the sound of it.
I got that.
Oh,
People told me it's good.
I don't like this.
Every time I
It's
attempted to use
interesting.
New City or whatever, I ended up using Prometheus Lens, so I still have yet to try it.
Oh.
If you can get the Eternal Blazon, it's a energy scout rifle Amalon. I just love it.
Oh, I just got that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got faster. It's essentially got radiant dance machines as a perk. So it just feels so good with the scout rifle. You're just dancing around. No one can touch you. You're just fucking picking them off, moving.
That one
fast.
feels really good too, just because I have the Amalon, like basically version of it. I forget what the Manananan. It's the Manananan, but it has Manananan. It's that gun, but it has that perk that you're talking about on it instead of the explosive rounds. So
Yeah.
good.
And high caliber. Oh, right. No, it didn't have high caliber. It had
That would make it amazing if it had all those things.
Had
It'd be
high
like, oh,
caliber
God.
and explosive. And you know what? Fuck it. Wolfpack rounds.
Yes.
I bet you anything that's
Are Lego-
one of the
Lego, are you and
weapons
Hove
that you
doing
just
this all
described
on-
would be the OP thing everyone would yell out about if they created something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Lego, are you and Hove doing this on PS4 or is this PC?
No, PS4.
PS4.
Okay, because I'm not getting any invites, and so I already.
I never
This is a lie.
was.
I invited you, and you were playing The Division. Just saying.
That actually may be true, but I'm gonna delete that text.
Well, I just wanted to add on real quick to my week that I did get to play the raid lair all the way through to the end. I just didn't beat the final boss, but it was really, really fun, and I was like super impressed. I think the beginning of going into the raid lair, it was like we had kind of even downplayed it on the podcast as like it'll be like, you know, just the underbelly, and you know, we're not expecting too much out of it basically, and that basically raised my fun and experience level of it whenever I went into it.
Are you talking about just the like entering it, or not expecting too much out of the raid lair in general?
out of the raid lair period, like
No.
all of it?
Not me. I was excited.
Oh, really? You were
Yeah,
super
because remember
pumped about
I
it?
was saying that like perspective wise, like I expected about like Crota, but because they learned their lesson and instead of trying to make a full raid in 3 months, they called it a raid lair.
Yeah.
And I would say that's fairly close, right? Like a boss
Yeah.
and then a few encounters.
It is, yeah. I feel like it is close. I just feel like
And we all know I love Crota.
I feel like experience-wise, and it felt at least like strategy-wise, it reminded me a lot more not of Crota, but of what's the Age of Triumph one that we did? Wrath of the Machine. Yeah, it reminded me of a lot of like the logistics of all the things you had to do, matching.
I just meant
different-
scope-wise.
There's a lot of moving parts in the raid.
Yes. But visually, it was incredible. Like, I think I liked it visually more than the actual raid that we got with the first raid that we got for D2.
That's about
I'm
as
blanking
surprising as Triton talking about stock markets.
I wasn't talking about stock markets, although we could talk.
You have.
The one place Destiny has never failed is the art direction.
Yes.
And music.
So true.
And audio.
Stop that.
Dude, and audio. So the
Audio.
audio for the raid layer, there's a part where you're walking through towards the beginning of it. I think it's after you beat the first encounter, and there's like these giant well, I'm not going to talk into spoilers about the raid yet, but there's basically like machines that are making these noises that are just like even though the encounter that it was like just a small little area you go through.
Would Piston really be a spoiler?
No, not really. No, there's a piston area, and just the noise of it is like amazing. Like as I was running through, I was like, "This is crazy cool." Even though mechanically this isn't much of anything, it just feels amazing because of the sound and the look of it and everything coming together. It just made it such a cool experience.
All right, since I've literally done nothing or have seen anything of the raid lair, when you said these machines up in the air making noises, I thought like they were huge, like evil machines that are going to try to kill you, and then we're just kind of hovering up above you, and they're like, "Yo, they sound so cool up there." You know,
Oh my
and
gosh.
And then he's like pistons. I'm like, "Oh well, shit."
Yeah, that's true.
Just
yeah.
wait till you get to the like towards the actual final boss. There is a segment there that I won't spoil that is incredible. Like I think it's one of my favorite Destiny moments like yet. It's really, really cool. And we'll get into a spoiler episode maybe another week. But I thought the raid layer was very, very impressive, and so that was a highlight of my week for sure.
So then, just to clarify, the raid layer is something I should not like dive into at all.
We can generally talk about it, but I don't want to give away any specifics about how
just
it
like
works,
mechanics,
what it looks
a little
like.
bit, you know.
Okay.
I would say because like one of your questions I think was like why was
Oh right, yeah, we can skip that one for now.
I want to know.
I know. I just
forgot
don't want to spoil it for anyone, so we'll save it.
Just like a little fun fact about the raid, the boss is named Argos, which is the big bad for the campaign. Panoptes in Greek mythology, it's Argus Panoptes, otherwise known or also known as Argos. So technically, the two bosses kind of share the inspiration.
Oh, interesting.
Wasn't that a Ben Affleck movie too?
Argo.
Yeah,
I thought it was Fargo.
No, Fargo
Argos
was Coen
and
Brothers or whatever.
Fargo. Okay.
Which Fargo is excellent.
Argo was the one about
highly
the
What does ships carry?
cargo. Argo was the one with Ben Affleck about the hostages.
Hostages, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, that was the I'm Captain Now.
No. That's Tom Hanks.
And they pretended they were making a movie to get those people out. Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah.
Wait, is that actually what happened?
That was real life. That was a true story.
Yeah.
They went over. They like pretended
Good.
they were making a movie and they were filmmakers, but they were like CIA operatives and stuff. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Craziness.
Okay.
What is the movie called? Argo?
Yeah, it was up for Best
Argo.
Picture like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the I'm Captain Now.
Oh,
one.
no,
I was
that-
like,
Look at Lego's face as he's just like.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
gosh,
I was
how long
kind of
should I let
like,
this
which
go
one are we
on?
talking about? Because I haven't seen either.
Man,
like
we
Tom
really got
Hanks,
our-
who was the captain of the boat, convinces pirates that he's a filmmaker. I like it.
I mean, that'd be one hell of a story.
It would be.
There's our movie of the week.
Yeah. Yes. Now we film it in Destiny.
Yeah.
Let's get on it.
Okay, well, before we get any further, because I know we do want to talk about more about what's gone on this week in Destiny with the Masterworks and all that stuff, but we have AnonPig on here who is, a guest from the community that we'd like to get to know a little bit. For those who don't know anything about you, what do you feel like is your place in the Destiny community? What can people find you doing?
I'm a lore guy, pretty much. That's about it. And generally, I'm mean.
Wait, did you say you're mean?
You mean?
I'm mean. Like,
There.
Oh?
I'm sarcastic and like I'm the dominator apparently.
Oh, the Dominator.
Thank you.
Triton's into that.
Thank you, girlfriend.
You would know, Hove.
But
For
yeah.
a second there, I was like, you're describing Hove right now, so I'm waiting for the discrepancy, and
Wait,
maybe
that
that
I'm
was it
mean?
right there. I'm not sure.
Like,
Or he's
I'm
the
not- I'm
Dominator.
Oh,
I guess
no,
I'm-
that definitely.
No, he's dominated.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh.
not my thing.
But yeah, I'm just a lore guy, really. I don't know more than that. Like I get like really passionate about it. So like when people are like, "Hey, what if Saint 14 is actually the speaker?" I'll be like, "No, what?" Like, so that's what I mean by like mean. Like it's just
Take your glove off and slap whoever's just
I will get
down.
Well, now I want to know how many times he's listened to Hove and us talk, like all of the REZOcast, and we've said something lore-wise, and you're like, no,
I don't know
guys."
anything about the lore.
Yeah, to be fair though,
if I'm being honest, there's probably a point in every episode.
Oh yeah.
Like generally people have like a good grasp of it, but it's like then like I like fucking pick the tiny details. I'm like, no.
I mean, we've also had conversations about Brother Vance being able to see. So
Is that what
Yeah.
you're referring to, AnonPig? Because that probably wasn't.
that was
close to
clearly
being
just
correct.
nonsense in the first. Shut up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like no
That
one
was
knows
just
when
a
you're
silly
saying it, Hove.
conspiracy
It's all
theory.
nonsense.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. See, look at that. Actually,
I'm trying to think of an actual scenario of something that you said that was just like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
So what-
AnonPig is doing
Too
that.
many.
Let's quickly speculate who that probably was that did that. I'm gonna go with Hove, obviously.
Well, I mean, like a good example of something that you did right was like talking about the raid layer. How I think it was Hove was saying like, well, the Leviathan is eating the Vex planet, can't there be Vex inside the Leviathan?
Yes.
And it's like, yes, they can. And even further than that, the Vex cells are actually infectious. So if they were to come in contact with the Leviathan, they could sort of like pollute it in a way. So it's actually dangerous for the Leviathan to be eating that planet.
How about final raid lair? The Leviathan becomes a giant Vex.
Yo, that would honestly be freaking cool.
That's not impossible.
Yes.
It's just not plausible.
Oh.
That's
How
sort of
about
my
a
point.
long
Like,
period of time, like in Destiny 8, we go back to the Leviathan, and then it's a Vex.
like it wouldn't. The ship itself wouldn't be a Vex. Like it doesn't. Maybe, I guess technically it could be. I might not have the full understanding of how the infection works, but it wouldn't be the ship itself is a Vex, but that it's sort of like it's Vex controlled type of, like they would just
like
spread out into the ship and just there'd be no getting rid of them. They're like termites. You're just screwed. They're eating their way in.
That's interesting. I've never heard it described as an infection before.
That's actually from Vanilla. From the Vault of Glass gear. Like it was saying something about living Vex, because the armor that Kabir made was out of the Vex bodies. Like he just started putting them on his body, and it was like I think it was the Warlock robes that said they fell asleep in them during the night, and they felt like their breathing was like being monitored or being controlled in a certain way. And it's like you don't want to go touching Vex. Like they're not good. They're worse. They're worse than Hive.
Which is what Asher Mir struggles with too, with the new arm. Like, isn't that slowly
about to
taking
say
over his body or something like that?
Yeah, that was Brachion when he and his fire team went in there to kill Brachion. The dialogue is sort of confusing because it says how Brachion corrupted his arm. It says how Brachion took his arm. So it's hard to say if it was like metaphorically or if he experimented on him. But in any case, his ghost is infected with the Vex, like with Vex cells, and he is infected with Vex cells himself. He cut himself and he bled radiolaria. And his ghost now has a red eye, which, I mean, like, generally that's not like, oh no, but like it's like, my ghost has a red eye. So what? Because he's infected with the Vex. Oh shit. Like, oh. Like, you know, like, yeah. And he's contemplated killing his ghost because I guess his ghost is no longer a functioning ghost now. It's something else. Like it's sentient, but it's not what it was. Or at least he hasn't died since the Brachion encounter. And I think he might be afraid to. Oh, I know he's afraid to. He's afraid to see what would happen if he were to die. Can he be rezzed again? So he's essentially living like everyone lived when Gaul took our light, just for the rest of his life.
Man, I love this episode already because it's like I'm sitting here talking to the speaker or Ikora. It's like I'm playing D2 and they're like giving me this information and I'm like, yes, okay, yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Like I'm like, it's like the story of Destiny in front of me.
Honestly, I can just sit here and listen to all this all day. This is interesting. Like I'm just going to sit here, just keep talking on it. Tell me more.
So like. Go ahead, Hope.
No, I was gonna say, like, whatever you want to know, I can't talk enough about it.
I didn't have anything like I don't know.
I really wanted to ask why Asher chose to then like have his camp next to that thing that like damages you immediately. I mean, there's no way that's in the lore, but I'm always wondering, like, man, he must want to kill himself because, like, like when you jump to visit Asher, there's like that water that if you stand in there, you'll like die acid or whatever that is.
Oh, that's the radiolaria.
So when you're saying like, oh man, he may want to kill himself, I'm like, well, I guess if you're standing right next to a pool of stuff that kills you, maybe.
But that's in his blood now too, right?
You're like living on the edge.
That is his blood now.
So he wouldn't get hurt by that. So if he stood in that, he would be okay. You think?
Possibly. But he's there now because he's stuck there.
Okay.
Well, not stuck there. He's stuck there. Like he refuses to leave. And he's there because he's trying to find a cure. He thinks this is where it happened. This is where I can reverse it. Like
he's like Will Smith in what's the
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I thought maybe you meant Fresh Prince.
Oh no, sure,
Finding a
that's
cure
a
in fresh
great
Men in Black.
correlation, Hove.
Just so you know, radial area might be my second favorite word of all time now. I like that
What's your
word.
first?
Parallelogram.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll just say parallelogram and tell me you don't enjoy it.
Well, before
Say
we get
parallelogram.
into more, I'm just gonna ignore Hove.
Lego,
I'm not
say
even gonna-
parallelogram. Say
Nope.
parallelogram one time.
Parallelogram. Okay.
Tell me you didn't enjoy that.
It was kind of nice.
Want
So
to know what my favorite word is before
Yes.
we get back on track? It's beefalo. Do you know what a beefalo is?
Is it a
Fun
type of
fact?
sandwich?
Fun fact: a beefalo is a hybrid between the American bison, otherwise known as buffalo, and cow,
oh, okay.
and it's a real thing.
I want to try it now.
It
We
was
should have beefalo
bred.
wings.
It was bred into existence for the purpose of replacing the cows. It just never caught on.
Jeez.
So there's a game called like Don't Starve or something on the PS4 that I used to go hard in, and the things that you kill are called beefalos. I thought it was just like something they made up.
No, it's a real thing. Last I
Or you
checked,
know.
there was only like 12 farms that actually had beefalo cattle, so they're rare, but they exist.
He's an IRL lore guy too, guys. Like, he
Apparently.
knows things.
Watch out, Ryan. He might know more
I'm just
things
like,
than you.
oh, you get together and you're like, we should replace cows
That's my
with
one
this
thing.
hybrid. Like, I just wonder like how that decision gets made. I guess.
Parallelogram.
Parallelogram. Okay, so
See?
I want to also
Dodecahedron's
ask you,
good, too.
Anon, like how did you even get into lore stuff anyway? Are there like other games that you like fell in love with? Like, oh, this story, you know, I really want to know everything about this. Like, what were those for you?
Well, the other games before Destiny that I got into the lore wise, kind of. I never dove as deep. Were like Infamous and Resistance,
like
both of
Infamous.
which were PS exclusives that are like staples. Like,
Yeah.
in Resistance, I just played through it like before D2 came out. It fucking holds up. Like the controls are nonsense. Like it's circle to throw a grenade, and it's not. It's R3 to aim. It's silly, but like the graphics and everything, like
Resistance
the gameplay
was awesome.
felt really good. But those I never really dove too deep in. It was sort of like a surface level, just like a fascination instead of an obsession. The Destiny lore actually 3 years ago, and I don't know, like 3 days, like is when I got into the lore. I saw a post online on Bungie.net. Read it, loved it, and in the comments people were saying like make a lore group, make a lore group, make a lore group. And I was like, yes, make a lore group. And I harassed that guy like every day that week to make a lore group. And then he finally did, and he made me an admin because I was like so annoying about it. He's like, I just want you to be an admin so you can just handle all this crap. And I was like, oh, I should probably know my stuff if I'm going to be an admin in a lore group. And I sat down, read the grimoire, and then I got snowed in for a week, and I posted on BNet. I was like, what do you guys want to know? Like, what do you want? And it's like made a poll with 7 random topics. They're like, let's know about the Vex. So then I read the grimoire again, and I wrote a post about the Vex, and it blew up. And I was like, okay, let's go again. Like next day, let's go again. What do you guys want to know? And they're like, let's know about the Hive. And I did that for like 7 days in a row. And that's the fastest way to grow anything. Like like if you just do something, like you do not get out of people's faces, they will know you. That is the most effective way to like create like a name for yourself. And kind of went like down and up at the same time, because I made a lore Ask Me Anything. I was like, fuck it, let's just get like crazy with it. Like I'll answer whatever the fuck you guys want to answer. And can I swear?
Yes. No, it is.
I'm so happy you asked that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah.
you're not holding your mouth like everyone else does. Okay.
Yeah, we weren't sure until about halfway through the first episode when I went, fuck, and it stayed in the episode.
I made this lore AMA, and it tanked, and then it blew up, and I answered a whole bunch of questions about like everything you can think of in the lore. And then one day I came on in the morning just before work, I answered a couple questions, or so I thought. And then I'm going to work. I get to work and I check my phone before I clock in. And I noticed some of the new comments are saying, oh, ninjas came and they erased like all your answers. So they like pulled down like every answer I gave. And people were like, what did you do? Like, I was like, this is all I did. Like, I just answered lore for the week. And like all my answers were removed. And like, what did you figure out? Like, what is Bungie trying to like keep hidden that you just exposed? And it became like this big fucking like conspiracy.
Oh my gosh.
And I was banned for a week. And I edited my post saying like, hey guys, sorry, I don't know what I did, like to Bungie, because I had no idea. Apparently when a ninja bans you, they're supposed to say, you did this, you're banned for a week. I had no contact. So I was just like, guys, I don't know what I did. I'm sorry. I won't talk lore again, I swear. And
you found Area 51, dude.
Yeah.
You went too deep.
And I'm positive it was just a ninja who stumbled upon my post and was like, I don't like this guy. Damn. Like, he's like, I don't like his theories. He's wrong. What does he know? I know more than him, type of thing. And just, booted me out.
And so it never happened again. It was just like a one-time kind of thing.
Well, after that, I sort of lost my drive to be on BNet.
Yeah.
Like, I was there for a little bit more. I made some more posts. Like, I made some bigger posts, and then like I just started like drifting away after some of the bigger ones. And then I started listening to a podcast, and then I stopped listening to their podcast. And then one of the people from that podcast contacted me and it's like, hey, I'm making a lore podcast. Do you want to be on? And I was like, no, but I'll help. Like I didn't want to be associated with a lore podcast. I didn't want to be on that. And then like what ended up happening was like, okay, I'll be on the podcast, but I don't want any responsibilities. I just want to be there. Like Triton. Yeah. And he's like, all right. And then it just sort of like went from no, okay, just no responsibilities. Okay, I guess I'll write notes. Okay, I'll also edit. Okay, I'll upload it. Okay, I'll just like run the Twitter. I'll just do fucking everything. And it's like, not to say that they're not doing anything. It is absolutely a team effort. I just put the Grimoire cards on the page, and we all contribute the important part of the show, different aspects, different viewpoints, different theories that like no one reads the same card. Well, I mean, obviously people do, but everyone will read the same card a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And that's something that's just so valuable. Like people that are like, oh, I'm not a lore guy, I wouldn't be able to contribute. It's like, no, like let me fucking know. Cause like you would read something and I would be like, I would never see it that way. That perspective might like open something entirely new to me that I would have never had if I wasn't talking to you. So
that's really interesting. I love how like it's really interesting how you get into how you got into lore, not just by like playing the game, but seeing somebody else's comments on like the lore basically. And then from there you were like, oh, like this is so interesting. I need to dig into this more.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, like going back to the whole, BNet ninjas and all that stuff. I was ironically around for all of that. Like now, as you talk about it, I like remember. No, seriously, like that was around the time that I, if you ever listen to this podcast in the past, when I found out what an Atheon was, So I was like just getting into the game, and I remember like going on BNet and seeing some of your posts, and that was the first exposure I had to like the lore that wasn't just the game, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I would check in on BNet every once in a while, and then I remember seeing something like that you got banned, and I was like, oh, like what did that guy do? Like maybe he's kind of a dick. Like I don't know. But I mean, that was just like a very like brief. Like I would just check BNet to see what was going on as I was trying, because I had started to want to learn about the game, but hadn't joined Rezo or any clan. So I was just kind of like poking around at YouTube and BNet, and I remember seeing those, and I was like, oh, this shit's really cool. And then he's banned, and okay, well, maybe I shouldn't talk about lore because I'll get kicked out of the game.
That's kind of what it felt like. I mean, to be completely honest, I was much more of a dick back then because I was in a weird place with an unhappy relationship, and Destiny drove that even further into the ground, and like thank you Destiny, but So like I was definitely more like snippy to people. So like that's something I actually said. Because my email is yfn.anonpig, and my girlfriend recently asked me, she's like, "What's YFN?" And I was like, "YFN was the greatest lie I ever told," because I used to start all my posts with, "I'm your friendly neighborhood, AnonPig." So like, I was like, "How do I seem like not an asshole?" Oh, I know. I'll lie to them. I'm friendly. Hi.
Oh, that's great. So what in Destiny like do you enjoy the most? Like aside from the lore, like gameplay wise, what do you enjoy? Is it like story stuff or is it PvE, PvP?
Okay, so it's definitely PvE. I really do enjoy PvP. I do. It's really fun. I enjoy getting my hands in there and like just figuring stuff out and having a good time, but it's not really where I excel.
Yeah.
I love the raids. I've done now 2 raids blind. The Wrath of the Machine and Leviathan completely blind. Amazing experiences. And really it's just seeing the game for the first time. Like when I first got into Destiny 2 and I'm like seeing the worlds, I was like, these are amazing. The game's only gotten better visually.
Yeah.
And then Curse of Osiris took that in a step further with Past Mercury when you go and see how the Vex came. Like I see what Mercury was and I'm like, the Vex took this away from me. The Vex took this beautiful place that we could have had and they made it into a yellow Mars, and that is unforgivable.
Yeah.
And like it made like an emotional hatred for the Vex just from a cutscene, and like
that's good.
Very powerful moments like that. Like the inverted spire strike when you're like, you know, the part where you're like jumping down further and further and then you go a little bit and it's like the excavation area, it's all like dirt and mounds and shit and there's like cabal everywhere.
Yeah.
If before that, when you're still jumping down, like when you get to the ground, just stay on the left side as far as you can and there will be like a little tunnel, and it's this tunnel, like a square tunnel, which is entirely Vex, and you have like Vex lights on the side, and the way the sun hits the end of the tunnel, you can't really see out into the play space ahead of you. So you're going through Vex, entirely Vex, super cybery, like it's what like the 90s considered being inside a computer was like. And then you step out and you just see the destruction that the Cabal has brought. And I was like, what the fuck? Like it was just so amazing to see like this visual storytelling that the artists, the world designers in Destiny, like they fucking brought their A game. It's amazing.
Dude, I so agree, man. That is like one of the most enjoyable parts of Destiny, particularly in Curse of Osiris, which I talked about it a lot last week, but I was like, man, like out of everything, the art direction, like the sound, they just nailed everything so good. And the raid lair, like you were talking about earlier, like in particular is just, and also I wanted to throw in too with the raid lair playing it blind, you said like this was one of the most like fun raid experiences I've had blind, because some of the other ones, like it's really difficult to go in, like you will knock your head like against the wall for hours trying to figure out blind, you know, for the first time. And this one was like really fun to go in blind. It was difficult, but like not to an extreme degree that you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never figure this out, you know?
I definitely liked Wrath of the Machine a lot more than the Leviathan for a blind experience because of that. Like Wrath of the Machine, my team beat it in 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And at least an hour was not even in the encounters. We were like, oh, there's a chest over here, there's a ghost over here, there's a secret fragment over here. We were just like exploring the little passageways, and I'm like, God, like we nailed this raid. Like we just got it.
Same with us. We were like going around in all the nooks and crannies. Yeah. Like, is there something secret over here? Like when you're down in the Wrath of the Machine, when you're down in like that little maze area, like type deal. We're like, there has to be something secret in here. We spent like I don't know how long just being goofy.
So Anon, I think it's great to have you on right now, because I mean Destiny 2 is probably in a little bit better place having the Curse of Osiris just drop and the Masterworks and everything else. But if you ever really want to fall back in love with Destiny, in my opinion, if you talk to a lore guy, like a true dedicated person who loves lore, it's just like so easy to kind of like, you know, fall back in love with Destiny. But we are moving away from that time where kind of people were crying about incentives in the game. In your opinion, is there a way within the Destiny framework to make lore a tangible incentive in Destiny? And if you do, how would you implement that? Did Hove mute me?
No.
I'm thinking.
No, you just have the hard-hitting questions, Triton. That's what this is about.
They did that really well with Adventures. Adventures brought like a good amount to the lore this time around, but I feel like what they failed to do was to account for the attention span of players. And it's like if they made Adventures essential, like if the level cap wasn't 20, if the level cap was 40, and you go to the EDZ and you can't leave the EDZ until you've done your story missions and your adventures, because that's what you need to level up, or you could just grind, like you could grind this little bubble in the EDZ, which would appeal less to most people, in my opinion, rather than playing a story. Like if it was more like that, I feel it would sell better, sort of like with Curse of Osiris. To get the infinite forge weapons, you need to do the 3 adventures and then a heroic adventure, and it's sort of putting you on rails. But I think importantly to like say like, hey, play the game that we made, like don't just run by it all.
I think it's helped me too to have the heroic, like I think I talked a lot about like how fun the heroic adventures were last week, but having those heroic adventures with the modifiers like actually has made me go in multiple times to play those things, to actually like have the lore seep in a little bit more, which has been nice for me, because I feel like I have a short attention span a lot of times with like really like painted, like I'm shooting the guys and I'm doing the things, and it takes like a few times of doing it before it actually sinks in.
Yeah.
Well, to that point, Anon, I think one of the things that I actually slowed down to observe was when you get your other subclasses back for whichever character, and you have to go back into I forget the name of wherever you go back into the Shard of the Traveler, and like those like hologram type things show up, and it tells you a story in like a very visual way, and you have to keep going. Usually I would blow past something like that just to get my subclass back, but I actually did stop and listen to those things. I thought that those were pretty neat. So in some ways, yeah, I think having something where you are committed to doing would be really neat in like a visual way. I was hoping too, like there could be some, we've talked about this, we've kicked around ideas before, maybe not lore specific, but if you did those things, what if it unlocked like a visual grimoire at the tower for you or something like that you were able to interact with to some degree, and there'd be an incentive to go and do that. Like if I did an adventure and it gave me like a scaled up weapon, because I mean, I think that was my problem with some of the adventures. I got to a point where like, oh, I don't really need this green where I'm at. But if it kind of scaled up and then it's like, oh, by the way, you'll unlock whatever this story kind of pertains to, this adventure pertains to in the tower as a grimoire, I thought that would be pretty cool. That was one of the things that I thought if they did, and to your point, if they put it right in front of your face, that maybe people would do.
Well, I mean, if like they got rid of the grimoire, and it's not even this that they stopped writing grimoire and they like call them lore entries now. Like they literally got rid of the grimoire off their website. Like it is not accessible on BNet anymore. So it seems like it would be going against the philosophical change that they made to put it into the game again. But even if they did, even if they were like, instead of ghosts, like do this, do that, or also ghosts, and just make adventures another grimoire card achievement. Even if grimoire cards were in the game, I personally don't understand people who are like, put grimoire in the game, because when I'm playing the game, I want to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be killing things. I want to be leveling up. I want to be grinding for new gear. I want to be progressing my game. And as someone who is obsessed with the lore as I am, I do not want to say, hey guys, 1 second, I'm reading this grimoire card. Sorry, I just read chat. I'm sorry. Hey guys, 1 second, I'm reading this grimoire card.
Don't get distracted by what we're talking about.
Yeah,
chat's bad news.
Because like
we love you,
like,
but you're bad.
I read grimoire on my phone. People are like, I don't want to have to leave the game to play the grimoire. That's stupid. Or to read the grimoire. That's stupid. It's like, so this thing that everyone has 24/7 now has the grimoire because it's not in the game. It's on the website in the API. Wherever I go, I have Destiny. I don't need to be at home playing my console on my TV. Like what if you have a family and your console is connected to the only TV in the house? You're going to tell your kids, you can't watch TV. I need to go read some Grimoire cards.
Yes.
Like your kids are not going to be accepting that. It's like, read on the TV? No, you can't do that. Like I read at work. Like I'm waiting in line at Dunkin' Donuts. I'll pull out Grimoire cards and I'll just cycle through them. I'll pick a random one and I'll read it. And sometimes I'll read it in a new way. And it feels like I'm getting less freedom in Grimoire cards. But to the point, to get off that soapbox, to the point, even if they were to put Grimoire cards in the game again from an adventure adventure incentive, I don't think many people would go to them and be like, oh, well, that's like, I got to scroll. I don't want to read that. It's not that important.
Yeah, I think it really depends. Like, because you've got arguments for both sides as far as, like, obviously when it wasn't in the game, people were like, oh, we need it. But then if it is in the game, like, I feel like
we don't want it.
Yeah, people would do that because it is in the game. Like, you can look at the weapons and inspect them, and there's stuff there for people to read.
Yeah, if lore in the game was actually what everyone wanted, I wouldn't have to be hounding people on Twitter for the lore entry tabs because the API hasn't updated yet. Like people would be like, "Oh my god, look at this new lore!" Not like, "Hey, can you hit L2 and screenshot that because I want to see that." That's what I want. Hello, hi, person. I can't raid yet. Person, like. Apparently people wanted the lore in the game. I've been against it since the start.
That's really interesting to hear the other side of it. I haven't heard that side expressed that way, so that was really interesting. I feel like there's a ton of lore stuff that I actually want to talk about with you, though, because like just hearing you talk about it earlier, I was like, yes, this is so good. Yeah. But is there anything from the rest of the cast that you guys want to hear? And if there's anything in chat too, if you guys have any questions for Anon, we'd love to hear them. Lore or non-related.
My stuff goes, non-lore related. I have a question. From Lightbreaker, he would like to know, for everybody, if you could dip mana in any nugget sauce, what would it be?
So lore appropriate.
You said lore or otherwise.
I did. It's true. And Light has, valid
what sort of
questions.
Sauce would you dip me into?
Some Raidalorian. So a poly, what was the word?
Polyhexagonical. Oh yeah, that one.
Polyhexagonical.
I don't know what.
Parallelogram.
Parallelogram. Yeah.
Such a good word.
I would dip him in. This sounds so weird.
I'm so glad Lego's answering this first.
Why did Lego? I can't believe Lego took the lead on this question. I'm very surprised.
I just thought about it before.
Uncomfortable sauce.
I just jumped. Yeah, uncomfortable sauce. There we go. Any lore questions, guys, from the cast?
You hear that, Lightbreaker? He doesn't think you're important. No, my question. I mean, anything I talk about will be so tangential to anything that matters. I'm just gonna go with what you guys have, and I'll think my own stuff on the way out because it's gonna be.
Did we have ask about anything? Like,
how about okay? So you read over the grimoire. You know your shit. Is there something that Bungie, like reading into it, going deep into the lore and all that? Is there something like a void missing in a certain area of lore that you wish Bungie could have done better or added to kind of fulfill your curiosity?
Many things.
Anything? Okay. How about what is one of your favorites that there's just a void missing? Like maybe they started it and then they left you hanging.
Because of the shift in the grimoire structure, like the lore structure, the delivery structure now. It used to be grimoire, and you'd get Legend Saint 14 and another Fallen and another Thorn and another Shadows of Yore and one of this and one of that and like everything. And now you get the topic of the week, like the DLC, the raid, trials. So
I'm sensing a huge void.
There's a huge void now. And what really bothers me is the Fallen are my favorite. Like since D1, they've been my favorite. And there's one mission that like, or one adventure where like Hawthorne says like, I'm bringing in Ikora because she knows more about the Fallen than I do, and then Ikora goes, yeah, the intricacies between the Archon priest and the Kel and their prime servitors and the Fallen Society, and I'm like, yes, like please tell me more. And then she doesn't say anything for the rest of the adventure.
That is.
Don't be a cock tease, Bungie. What the
blue ball to the maximum.
I feel like they do that a lot, even in the Taken mission. What's his name? Whenever he starts spouting out a bunch of X stuff, and Ikora's like, oh yeah, well he's just kind of crazy.
Shut up, Asher.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They like tell him to shut up, and then they don't really say anything more about it. Later on,
she mocks him a lot, especially his writing. It's apparently like very shallow and pedantic.
So
I enjoy when he makes fun of Zavala though.
Yeah, that is fun. He does not like Titans. His fire team consisted of two hunters since he's a warlock. But
yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
He's just not a fan of Titans whatsoever.
Smart guy.
I don't know why.
Hove, come on.
Well, Anon, is there anything in the lore? So, I mean, I guess as someone who doesn't really dive into that, presume that like maybe Eris Morn was up to something. Is there something in the lore that would suggest that maybe she's not good? And is there anything in the lore that would suggest that like the queen and whatever ritual she was doing could have survived that explosion?
Oh yeah, that was one of the questions. Yes,
I'm curious about these things as well.
So Eris is a tricky subject because she went into the Hellmouth. She came out different. She no longer has a ghost. She no longer has the light in some fashion. Maybe she just has a lot less of it. Those things never. Those are a huge void. Like, how does the light work? That's a enormous void that I feel like that should be 101. But whatever. At the very least, because good and evil is all subjective. At the very least, she is currently not against us.
Sketchy AF.
Yeah, for real.
No, and I mean that in the most of is there ever going to be a point that she's no longer on our side? Possibly. She's shown no signs of it though. Her entire focus is on destroying the hive, which is very beneficial to us. But is she on our side? I mean, that's a bit up in the air. She's working with Mara Sov very closely. And is Mara on her side? Absolutely not. She's fucking using us as much as she can. And I refuse to believe she's dead. There's many theories as to how she's not dead. One of mine from BNet, like one of my last ones from BNet, was that Mara Sov is actually Savathun in disguise.
What?
Oh, that's pretty crazy.
What?
There's a number of relating topics between them. Savathun went in disguise and into a culture to sort of like poison it from within, and like my father is the dark and Starlight was my mother, stuff like that. Savathun at the end of the Books of Sorrow. Savathun started to really question, were they making the right choice? And Oryx was just blindly following it, and Xivu Arath was doing whatever the hell she was doing. And like, it made a lot of like, she's no longer trying to be with them anymore. And she has these like powers that just don't really make sense. And sure, the Awoken are just entirely something that we don't understand. So maybe they are just Awoken powers. But it's just like things like how Uldren Sov found the Black Garden. Like, he is the one who found a Vex space that was torn from space. Like, it was not existent. And he discovered the entrance to it. So it feels weird. Like, how does he do that? Why does he have similar powers to her? Because like in the Taken King scene, you see him lit up as she lit up. And so Quria Blade Transform was partially taken and then given to Savathun by Oryx. So it just sort of feels like, could she have had like this Vex in, like she would know where the Black Garden is because the Blade Transform is what guided the Vex into worshiping the worm larva, to worshiping the darkness to become more powerful, and that's what they were doing in the Black Garden. On some level, what they were doing in the Black Garden was trying to bring forth the powers of the Vault by worshiping the darkness.
Jeez, man, that is insane.
Man, I looks impressed.
I want more.
I know.
It's really interesting, honestly.
So, and that makes sense to me as far, because the Book of Stars is one of my favorite Destiny lore. Like, if I could
everyone's
list my favorite, I was like, oh, give me more of that, because I didn't even really care for the Hive that much until Taken King came along and they gave you that much backstory. I was like, okay, I'm invested. Like, I want to know everything, and that was one of the things I was wondering about is, you know, do we think we'll see Oryx's sisters? And with you saying that one of them could be Mara Sov, like, it clicked for me, like, that actually makes sense that she would, like, she gives that monologue at the beginning of the Taken King about how, you know, you knew this was coming, basically, because in the Book of Star Wars, they're constantly just killing each other over and over again.
Yeah, that was one of the things in House of Wolves when Skolas gets the Vex tech in Terminus, he pulls the wolves, the houses of wolves from time to rally to his cause, and something changed in her order. She wanted us to kill him, but then because of that, she's like, "Wait, don't kill him. I want him alive now." And then she had Varix question him, and Varix is saying, "Oh, he lost his mind. I don't know what the fuck happened." He's talking dark binder, light snuffer, and she's like, "That's all. That's all I need." Because she fucking knew Oryx is coming. Like, she was like, "Okay, Oryx is coming." And it's like, well, how does she know what Oryx is?
Yeah.
And so that was like one of the things that started to like tip my brain into that path, that she was Savathun in disguise. But just, if not even that, in my opinion, she assaulted the Dreadnought as a way to, because what she did do was she used the Harbingers to plant like seeds in the Dreadnought, sort of like which feels like it's her trying to say like, I have plans to take this over, so let's get my seeds in this now, which could give weight to her being Savathun, that she has some understanding of what the Dreadnought is.
Yeah.
And then went to her attack, purposefully died so that she would go to her throne world where she would be safe, unless something were to follow her back. Let's say that theory is entirely wrong, which very well can be. There were, even in the Taken King, there were multiple signs that Mara Sov had, survived the crash, and that they were sort of hiding it. And we always get a little more and a little more and a little more. Like, Uldren woke up from the crash on Mars, just outside the Black Garden, and his crows found him, and he felt like starlight or something like that. There was like some poetic way of saying that made people say, "Oh, he felt Mara Sov like watching him," which sort of feels like to me like, you know, in that sort of way. And then again in Rise of Iron, well, the end of Rise of Iron, Age of Triumphs, because the Fallen have abandoned their ways. They've reached the critical point where they can't do it anymore. They can't be separated. They had to unify. So that's actually something that in D2 was mentioned as one of the scannables, that desperation succeeded where Skolas failed. Because like now they have that's beside the point. So Uldren walked around the Cosmodrome, leading the House of Kings on, sort of saying like, "Oh, I'm weak," like he's dying, or he's pretending to die, so the vultures will come and circle him. And he gets sent in, he gets captured, and he lets them capture him. He lets them pretend that he pretends that he's weak, so they feel like secure, and they bring him in front of the Kell, and then it ends with the implication that he's taking over the Fallen.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, and
That's my
then now
contribution.
in D2, I believe it's on Titan, right outside of the spider tank near Sloan. There's a scannable that says like, "Oh, these fallen signals are mixed with something." The reef, like it's like, oh, maybe it is the reef that they're involved with.
Man, it's really cool hearing all the correlations from D1 like still carrying over into D2. Do you feel like that system like of the scannables like is that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of went on. You would rather have it in written form to be able to read, but is it nice to have that in D2?
If we had Grimoire still, if we still had Grimoire, and they're like, and we also have scannables, I'd be like, awesome, more the
Yeah.
better. But don't fucking take away my steak. Don't take away my steak and give me a bologna sandwich and say this is okay. Because that is not okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are jokey. Like there's one on Nessus that says that the Vex are listening to classic rock. Like, what do I care about that? I'm not saying like, hey, you guys listening to Guns N' Roses? Yeah, I love them too. Like, no, I'm shooting them. It doesn't matter to me. Although one that you guys would like, there is one scannable of a small Vex portal that showed signs of a Hydra coming through it. So either the portal shrunk or there are tiny Hydras somewhere out in the world.
like a mini
like
Lego-sized Hydras.
Oh, a Lego flash-sized Hydra?
Yeah, they're somewhere. They're out there
somewhere.
Guns N' Roses
Hydras have
Queen.
babies. And do they grow? What if he just finds swarms of baby Hydras?
Dear God.
I think that'd be cool to fight.
I don't know if the Vex grow. I'm interested to see if they do, but I don't know if they do.
Maybe instead of growing, they just upgrade over time.
That's what I mean. Like not like oh, you're another year older. Look at you, you've grown an inch. But like that the Vex construct of one purpose will be upgraded to a larger purpose and a larger purpose and a larger purpose and like so on. Or is it just you're the construct? Okay, fuck you. You're the new construct for the new job. Okay, fuck you. You're the new construct for the new job. Okay, fuck you. And just keep cycling through them. Like, at what point, like, do they just become obsolete? Like, I don't know.
That's interesting.
It'd be interesting to know.
Maybe they do. Maybe they're like, maybe since they become obsolete, they send them to a different timeline to do something else, like over there.
That's what they're doing now.
We don't need you, like in the future, like we don't need you for this purpose. Go back in time, to work on something.
That would have to be like a really niche.
Bitch.
Yeah.
What
podcast is this? That'd have to be like a really niche scenario because I think it was the Virgo Prohibition that was on Mars in D1. There's actually like an adventure now where our ghost hacks into the network and convinces the Vex that he's a Vex. And the Vex are like, the Virgo Prohibition was the worst case to send to Mars. Why did we ever use them? So it's like there's Vex politics going on where they're like, why did we vote Republican? This was bad. We should have voted Democrat. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I got one more thing. I got two more lore things. I'm just gonna hit one of them though. The 9. Because we have all this trial stuff around the 9 now, and they were so mysterious, and the only thing we knew about them, at least playing the game wise, was we knew Xur was in the game and he was giving us gifts of the 9, and we knew that the 9 had kept Skolas for a little while, and like they had some history with Skolas or something like that.
So Uldren sent the crows into the Cauldron of Ray, and that upset the 9. This was just after we captured Skolas. And Marasov was done with him. No, this was before we captured Skolas. This was just after the Reef Wars. And so after the victory of the Reef Wars. And so Marasov said, send Skolas to the 9 and tell them the crows are mine, not Uldren's. So like it's not going to happen again type of deal. But the 9 were like, no, fuck you. We don't want Skolas. So they gave him the Lord of Wolves, a skiff, and set him free.
Yeah. And so you mentioned earlier Eris, like you're not really sure if she's like good or bad, and I feel like we kind of have the same feeling with the nine. It's like they're not really on our side or not on our side. They're just like, do their needs or do we align with what they want or not? And they're just going to do their own thing for the most part.
So the nine are much different than Eris, because Eris is a pawn, but the nine are a player. If you can understand what I mean. Like,
yeah.
Destiny, as it goes on, a friend of mine, Captain Kex, he's one of the lore guys. Like there's secret lore societies. It's really highbrow. Like we get into discussions we've gotten into discussions about this, and I was more excited to see evidence that Callus was falling into place with what we were saying he was going to do. So you have Oryx. Oryx was the first instance that we really saw solid proof of this. In the Books of Sorrow, he said that he would learn shapes and he would be the geometer and stuff like that. So we use the term shape metaphorically, where the universe has to exist in a way and it has to pass through the final shape. And that's what Oryx wants to be. He wants to be the thing that the universe encapsulates, I guess, is sort of what I'm trying to say. And so Oryx sees the darkness and he's like, okay, I see what true power is, and now I'm true power, because that's how it works. I'm going to be the final shape. And the traveler feels like it's trying to be a final shape or a shape. Oryx is trying to be a shape. The darkness is trying to be a shape. The nine are trying to be a shape. Callus is trying to be a shape. Although Callus, that's a bit of an iffy one. Callus might just sort of being like, I'm just going along for the ride. We already fucking lost.
That seems like the attitude.
I'm just gonna get fat and have fun. But he talks about having like so much more power than our feeble light and stuff like that. And he openly mocks the worm gods and us and the nine. So it feels like we're heading into this battle where everyone wants to be it. Everyone wants to be the thing. And I'd be really excited to see that's where the direction goes, because whatever Callus found at the edge of the universe, some people say it's the darkness. That's something that I'll touch on that I think you guys will like, actually. Some people say it's the darkness. I disagreed with that from the get-go, but people said it was a darkness because of, and the Leviathan, his suck room, or whatever the hell everyone calls it.
Suck room.
Suck room.
Have you not heard it called that, man?
No.
SUCC room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. People say that's like a darkness dimension, which is another name for it. And it's not. It's actually a nightmare realm constructed by Scions, which he uses as a special prison for people he doesn't like.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that's insane.
It doesn't seem like he found the darkness. And if he did find the darkness, why the fuck would it be like, yeah, you can be my bro. Here's some power.
Yeah, I know. It is weird, right?
Go chill with Guardians. That'd be cool. But yeah.
So the nine kind of fit in like as a shape, basically. Yeah,
as a player.
They're one of they just want to be one of the final players, basically.
Yeah. And so that's what it feels like. They see us as a pawn and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna use you to take out the king and knock out this other player in the tournament. You know, like they're trying to use us, and that's part of like what Osiris was about, but never really got explained in D2. He was sort of like, why do we fight? Like, why are we doing it? It just feels weird. Tevis Larson was another one who sort of had that philosophy. His lore is on Graviton Forfeit.
Oh, okay.
Just in case you don't know who he is. He was the the hunter that we got the Night Stalker from originally.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was the one that owed Cade money.
Yeah.
He went into the Black Garden and never came out because he died.
Because he died.
No biggie.
He dead hard. All right, going back to the 9 though, like, is there like I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to a lot of things about D2 and all that.
You
don't say. But I'm open about it, But Trials of the 9 Is there any things on why they're having this happen? Why Guardians are coming to fight each other before the 9? Why do they want to get noticed?
Well, it's more that we have been noticed than we want to get noticed. In defeating Gaul, the 9 have actually recognized us as a possible
threat
utility.
Or asset, maybe?
Yeah, like a possible asset, like actually as an asset. So now instead of it just being like Guardians, they're like, oh, Guardians, like what can you do?
They're like,
Let's have some
oh,
trials.
okay,
Let's see
wow.
it. Let's see what you got. Like now they're actually looking at us.
Yeah.
So it does sort of fit.
Well, I think it showed that the 9 definitely lack one thing though, and it's creativity. Because they were like, well, we're gonna have them go through these trials. They had these other trials by Osiris. Let's just use the same ones because we're lazy.
Or is it Osiris lacking creativity?
He was first though.
He was training us
in
for
our
the 9.
experience. The 9 were freaking trialing other aliens out there in space, and they were just like, "Yeah, Guardians don't matter. Who cares?"
But Osiris can travel through time, right?
Time travel in Destiny doesn't seem to be
so convoluted. I swear,
it doesn't really seem to be a thing. It's more
dimensions instead of time.
Let me be right back. I think I got something that'll help explain this.
Oh, he's charging
Oh,
up. He's
we're
plugging into the Matrix.
Demonstration. I'm so
What did I
excited.
do? I told
Is he
you I
gonna do
should.
the paper analogy like
challenged
Stranger
him.
Things?
I told you I should have just kept my mouth shut.
I can't
was
wait.
more just
But
making
he
fun.
knows.
I was more just making fun of the fact that Trials of Osiris and Trials of the 9 are the same damn thing.
Yeah, no, I know. But it is interesting. Maybe Osiris did get it from the 9 and he was training us for the 9, you know? And
okay, so let's take.
Wow.
I'm so
he's
excited.
got cards. You listen on iTunes. He's got cards.
Yeah, I got a deck of cards.
You want to poke
So
holes
like
through
you
it.
gotta
Holes
be
stuff.
watching this to get the full effect. So the
My body's ready.
the infinite forest creates multiple simulations of multiple things that they want, and they're so real that they can actually be taken out of the simulation. That's why that one strike, that's also a story mission. Goddamn. Sorry, my girlfriend is in chat and she keeps freaking saying things. And
is she saying things like, "Oh, you're so hot" when you talk lore? Is that
kind of close?
Pretty close.
pretty much it. But
Gungo would say lore
the
me
cabal could have gone in and come out with some dangerous Vex tech because of the simulation. So you have all these simulations that seem like they're in the past, that seem like they're in the future, and they're just not really. They're just simulations, but they're so realistic. They're like pocket universes that exist only in that instance. And here's actually an exclusive. I'll give you this theory that I was thinking about. Are any of you Future War Cult supporters?
Yeah?
I go back and forth.
On one character.
I was gonna say, if you are, you're gonna hate me because I'm gonna start insulting them.
Oh, never mind. I'm all game.
So the War Cult is built around a device that was made through mimicking Vex tech back in the Golden Age by Maya Sundaresh and some people in Lhasa or something like that, somewhere in India. So this device has people being put into it where they see the future. So we're just going to focus entirely on the future in this case. But it also applies to the past. Just this device is for the future. And in my opinion, this device is essentially a miniature infinite forest. Instead of it creating whole worlds, it creates just the area of which you exist. People have gone into that device and they stopped like breathing and stuff, like because they're no longer in the device, they're in the reality that they see. So let's have like each card be a reality. Future War Cult predicted all these realities. They predicted the Red War, they predicted 20 fucking things that don't happen, 20 things that might happen, and 20 things that like physically cannot happen. And they sit back and they say, we're so smart because we predicted everything. But they're predicting everything. You know, they're predicting every possibility because of that. And the constant in these is that they're all cards. They're all a war. It's a war that we're losing. It's a war that I don't even know why I have cards.
You just like, give us something to visualize.
I just wanted something to, yeah, here. So let spades be a war that we're losing. And the number 6 in this case, as you can see, is it's a war that we're losing against the fallen. And diamonds are a war that we're winning, 7. It's a war that we're winning against the hive. And like it's stuff like that. Like, so they have like this infinite possibilities where they're predicting a war. So they're saying, let's just always be ready for war. And they're sort of sitting back on that philosophy. And that's not a bad philosophy, but it's a little closed-minded. And
it makes sense. I get what you're saying. And
that's sort of what I think of the Infinite Forest as, where it's just, or that's what I think the device is. It's just
So when we get people, or when we get missions where especially I feel like in D1 we got a lot of stuff with time, not as much in D2. Like I feel like there is some, especially with Osiris, but whenever there's something with time, like, oh, these Vex are from the past, it's like, oh, it's from past or present simulation more so. Is that what you're trying to say?
See, that's where it gets like confusing, because they talk about it like the precursors are from the past and the descendants are from the future, and we have weapons that are from the future and also from the past, and they're from this timeline and that timeline, and it's like, well, which fucking is it? And then there's the Exo Stranger, she's dead, and she was hopping around back and forth and shit, and like it gets so confusing. Like maybe
she's dead.
So I guess in a sense, like the descendant Vex can be from the future, but they can be from a simulant future, but they come out as real. That's a possibility. Or they literally could time travel. I mean, I don't know. Now that I say this out loud, I've dug myself into a hole again.
You've blown your own mind.
I don't know
how the lore goes. You're like
Jon Snow.
It's like Lost.
And that there's the void again, not confirming anything, like just leaving us like, what do we understand?
A big issue is that there's like so many contradictory statements. Like when you really start getting into lore, the first thing you have to do is say everything I read is possibly and probably not true, because that's just how it feels a lot of the time. It's someone saying it, and this has actually been confirmed, like by Bungie writers. They were like, everything said is being said by someone, and I can say,
right,
I can say that Triton wears diapers,
and it would absolutely be true
in a simulation.
But see, that's what I mean. So Hove will look at that and go, oh, so that has to be true.
Oh, it is
but then
true.
Triton's looking at that and it's like, that's not true.
I stopped wearing diapers last week.
That's perfect. No, that's a great analogy, and I really appreciate that, thinking about the lore, because it's like, oh, this is all being said by someone or a ghost or
what do they call it? Unreliable
whatever.
narrator.
Exactly. Like every narrator is unreliable. The Ishtar Collective, that's pretty much the best place. Ishtar-collective.net. That's where you go if you want to actually start getting into the lore. And they also have a podcast, and I think it was an early episode. They don't have many episodes, but Purple Chimera did a solo cast. It's only like 15 minutes long, and it's entirely about that. It's just about the bias and how when people are like in the lore, they got to be careful with what they're reading, and what they're saying is confirmed, because people said Dragon Euro was a hunter because he had a cloak. Dragon Euro was a Titan. Look at that.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So back up. The stranger's dead. Hold on.
Yeah, he just kind of threw that in there and then walked away.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
What's going down there?
I know it's confirmed like her story was done. It's just gonna like from D1.
Not because she was
D1.
dead though. Now
Luke Smith said her story was done, and I agree with that statement. I know a lot of people got mad, but her story was done. Her story was to get us into the Black Garden and have us destroy it. Could there be more of her? Yes, but that's not the story that was proposed in D1. That's a new story also involving her.
Yeah.
So, the Future War Cult class item lore entry talks about how there was a hand in this location and an arm in that location and her foot in this timeline and this and that, and like she was destroyed and just sort of, it could very well not be her. In my opinion, it's her. She was destroyed and just like scattered across the timelines, and they say like they make a mention of like not letting someone see it, and that someone, in my opinion, is Lakshmi 2, who I actually believe to be Maya Sundaresh's love interest back from the Golden Age, Chioma Essie, or Kioma Essie.
And so why would they not want her to find?
Because a popular theory is that the extra stranger is actually Maya Sundaresh.
Oh, okay, so it's like her lover, basically.
Yeah,
her
so
lover.
it's like the star-crossed lovers trying to come back to each other, and now we're learning that's never going to happen.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Sad story, man.
If that's actually the case, I mean, I hope they expand on it and like confirm it, but they might have just dropped it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
There's a lot of things like that they could just drop.
There's a lot of names that confuse me.
Well, that's what's so good about having someone lore-wise here, because he'll drop a name, and it's like, I've probably heard that once, randomly thrown out in a scannable object or something, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that's me hardcore. Well, first of all, I'm just terrible with names, so that doesn't.
In reading.
And reading.
Well, did y'all have any other questions to throw out here? Because if not, we can move on to some stuff in the TWAB and some other stuff. But I just wanted to give one last chance for any.
Only if we're doing
stuff.
a 24-hour podcast.
Yeah, right.
I know. There's so many things I want to know.
Yeah.
I can leave off on something that's a little more interesting than a possibility of the extra stranger being dead, if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yes.
So, crap, what fucking, in one of the new Infinite Forge weapons, it's I think it's verse 3, there's a letter of Shax being sent to the speaker, which is essentially saying like, if I want to respect Osiris, you're not gonna fucking stop me from respecting Osiris. He has good ideas. And his ideas were that guardians can be like tempered metal and forged into a proper sword. And so with D2, we see the reflections of Osiris inside the Infinite Forest. And like I've said before, the Infinite Forest is so real that things can actually leave. So we have 2 instances. People have said 3, and I'll bring up all 3, but I disagree with the third. We have 2 instances where this really makes sense. There are rumors that Lord Shax was talking to warlocks who cast no shadow. So if you are a being of light, you don't cast a shadow. You're a warlock casting. So it's possible that Shax has actually been meeting with the Osiris reflections, and that's why like they have such a similar aggressive personality. Yeah. And then also because, and here's what I mean by everything is possibly not accurate. It's been said that Osiris has never left the Infinite Forest. And that we can, argue, we can infer that Osiris left the city and went into the Infinite Forest, because when Osiris left the city, Saint 14 went after him, and Saint 14 died in the Infinite Forest. So 125 years are going by and whatnot. He's in the Infinite Forest this whole time. Eris Morn, post Crota, is now meeting with Mara Sav, and she's meeting her with someone that she can't even look at because they're too bright. So it's possibly another reflection meeting with Osiris. And I mean, if Brother Vance is just sitting in the corner there blind, bright shining Osiris reflection just walks right by him to Mara Sav. So
that's pretty awesome.
And the third is at Six Fronts. Osiris was reported as being seen in multiple places at once. So people like to say now that it was his reflections being there, which I disagree with wholeheartedly, because they didn't say we saw some glowy things that sort of look like Osiris. They said that we saw Osiris, and that's very different. And what I attribute that to being is that his reputation just got ahead of himself, which is actually something that Segura says in the story. Like really early on, people have a hard time matching Osiris. Even Osiris does, like
meeting his
reputation.
expectations.
Yeah, meeting his expectations. Like, so he's ahead of what he can ever actually be based on the rumor mill.
That's awesome. I love that.
And Saint 14 did die. I'm sorry to break it.
I saw that. I saw the screenshots on Reddit.
Well, I mean, you can go there now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. The screenshots, like you can see
I
it.
thought you meant like the bug, the people that like glitched in. Yeah, that was an interesting
Wait,
mission.
what happened? Like,
There,
hold on, what?
the verse is there's literally, it's called Another Verse, which sends you on the search for Saint 14.
Oh,
And
really?
the Vex took centuries to make a giant Hydra, which drained him of his light, and then they made a memorial for Saint 14 because they respected him, I guess, because he killed like thousands of them. And you can go check out his corpse and get his shotgun, which I believe is was made by Ikora.
Oh.
People are like sort of going nuts with that. They're like, oh, it's from this person, it's from that person. But if you look at Saint 14's pigeon, which is the exotic ship, it talks about how he had an inspiration, and there's some talk about settling things in the Crucible, which is where Ikora used to live, and her go-to gun was the Invective, a shotgun. We always see her with a shotgun, so like she's like been drilled into our heads, shotgunner.
Yeah.
She's a student of Osiris. Osiris made the Infinite Forge, or not made the Infinite Forge, but works at the Infinite Forge, and the rumor was that he whoever made the gun made it from, or not the rumor, but what the thing says, made it from the Infinite Forge. So in my head, it just makes perfect sense that it was Ikora made the shotgun and gave it to him, and that they were actually a thing way long ago, because now Ikora is actually hooking up with a human.
Wait, now she is?
Well, like at least a year ago. I don't know if they're still together.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Do we know this person? Is this?
Yeah,
This
it's,
sounds like ninth
Shun?
grade rumor mill.
I know, but it's in the lore apparently.
It's Shun. He's from Owl Sector.
It's trite.
From
Wait,
Owl Sector.
who is Cade dating? Now we're really gonna spiral.
Oh,
Cade is not dating anyone, but
Not
he
surprised.
did request nudes from the Vanguard Quartermaster.
that's
Oh.
awesome.
Yeah, that's from D1. If you go hang out with the Vanguard Quartermaster, occasionally they'll say like, request from Cade, blah 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 blah, request denied. And it's like he just asked for like, it was like, request from Cade, pictures of blah blah blah, request denied. It's like, oh,
Huh.
what?
That's awesome.
What is he doing? But his other love interest was Maya Sundaresh back in the Golden Age, and he had a wife and a kid.
Yeah,
So
I remember reading that.
Oh,
That's
Kid
crazy.
gets around.
man.
Well, he's a pimp.
So
But,
Zavala and Ikora weren't a thing. I would have thought that would have been a thing.
Yeah,
No.
What?
impressing you, Kate, is going to be the easiest thing I do.
No, I
today.
meant I thought Zavala and Ikora. I guess maybe I misspoke there, but I thought they were kind of maybe a thing.
I think they
Okay,
just
fair
respect
enough.
each other, Triton.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
Triton.
that's apparently
That's
what
a
it
thing.
is. Sorry, I just
Respect between two people.
Quickly, not really lore related, but Curse of Osiris related. I think my favorite part of all of Curse of Osiris was how butthurt Brother Vance was at the end. Because like the whole time he's talking about like how much he loves Osiris and all this stuff, and at the end he's like, "Oh, You got to meet Osiris. I didn't get to meet Osiris. How many books have you written? And I was like, ah, fuck you. He was so mad. It was awesome.
He's like, you don't see this, I'm flipping you off.
I was so okay. Before I actually get into the lore, it really. I get that he's blind, and I guess I should appreciate it, but I don't appreciate it. It just bothers me when he's not looking at you. When he turns to look at you, he just like, guardian.
No, I never even noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
He's like making sure no one's within the like 4 feet in front of him, and then he just like puts his hands sort of to his stomach or whatever. But I was okay with him being fanboy. I was like, yeah, fine, that's funny, whatever. What I'm not okay with is that in D1 he was a warlock, and now he is not.
Wait, what?
In D1, one of his idle dialogue pieces was that he'd be like, I used to be a warlock like you, blah 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 blah. Like he'd go off on that, and it made me think like, oh my god, like the followers of Osiris, like they've rejected the light. They don't have ghosts anymore. They're like, fuck it, we found a different power, and there's like so much more out there. And I'm like going nuts about that. And now we found out that he actually just got hurt once, and he thought he was a warlock.
What?
That sucks.
Yeah, so he was like, I thought Osiris gifted me with becoming a warlock, but no. It's like, you what?
Poor
like
guy.
he went blind and he lived, and he thought Osiris made him a warlock. Like that's canon. What happened?
See, I don't actually like this iteration of Brother Van. Like, I'm more on the side of like, I like the mysterious, like, what is he about? Like, there's all like you, like he was on another level, like above you kind of thing. And the way that they lowered him and like made him kind of jokey and stuff, like, I don't know.
That's because he was only mysterious before because he was embarrassed to show you how much of a fanboy he was, so he just kind of was like super mysterious,
acting all above and high and mighty. Hey, so you were half right, Hove, about him like just pretending to be blind. Right. It was all just like a pride, like, oh, we're gonna pull this one over him. He was just pulling over that he was a fanboy. That was what he was really hiding.
See,
and
sneaky snake.
There's no actual reason why all the Vanguard are bald, but a while ago I used to do a thing called Legit Lore on Twitter, where I would just post like the most obnoxiously not true things about the lore. And I said one of them was actually Vanguard initiation involves shaving your head. When Cade got instated, Ikora wanted him to cut off his horn, but Zavala had it back.
That's funny.
That's amazing. Okay, well, we really could talk forever about this, but we are getting a little late in it, and so we're just going to jump into 12 just real quick. And then, yeah, that's it. We're just going to get the TWAB real quick, because we got the TWAB, and we got the Dawning is coming back. And that's pretty much all that the TWAB consists of, other than, okay, we're going to stick in the lore segment for one more second, because there's a webcomic coming out, which is mentioned in the TWAB, and that's very lore related. And I saw you mention about it, like, this is coming. And so what are your thoughts about this happening now, webcomic?
So that was actually one of my biggest complaints with Curse of Osiris. It's that the story just felt so unattached to the characters, where it's like we get Sagira thrown into our laps, and then Sagira is like very like against Ikora. Like there's obviously tension between the two. And I'm like, okay, they introduce the tension, and then later on they'll explain the tension, and they don't. They just relieve the tension, and it's like, well, what's the cause of it? Like, I wanted those cutscenes like we had with Gaul and Callus, where or Gaul and the console that like explained some of Gaul's history. I wanted to see the Osiris logo on the black screen, and we'd see what we actually got is Grimoire cards. There's 3 Grimoire cards. One is Ikora's Resolve. I don't remember the other 2. Or lore entries, because there's no more Grimoire cards.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's saying how like Osiris is getting kicked out, and he tries to get Ikora to come with him, and Ikora goes no. And then Sagira gets mad. She's like, "You fucking owe him. He taught you everything he knows." And she goes, "He taught me everything he knows." Like she burned bridges like you could not fucking believe. Like I was like, God damn, Ikora, like what the fuck? Like, I know he's getting kicked out, but goddamn.
Dude, that would be crazy if they had a cutscene of that moment, like between Osiris and Ikora. That would be like the way you just phrased it. I was like, I want to see that. I want to see it go down.
And while I'm super excited for the comic series, because that does open a lot of doors moving forward. One thing that I'd like to see is I'd actually like that to be in the game. I'd like to see like a little node that will open up comic series, and I can just play it while I'm playing the game. Like if I'm waiting for something,
they should have it at the ramen shop, like where you go. Actually,
I meant like in the
open comic shop.
I meant like in the director, like how
I know.
before Curse of Osiris launched, you can actually watch the Curse of Osiris trailer. Like I'd like to see a little director node like that.
Yeah.
But what I don't want to see is I don't want them just to be like, okay, so we wrote this lore entry and now it's going to be a comic. Like, no. Give me other than the lore entry. If you're gonna make some comics, don't just do it off of things that I've already read. I don't want to watch the movie after I read the book.
Oh, I see. Like it'd be the same thing.
Yeah. Like show, because it sort of worries me because they say, oh, that's nice. Thank you. It worries me because it's the Ikora Osiris origins. So I'm assuming it's not their falling out. It's their beginnings, and maybe we'll actually see Ikora forging the perfect paradox, the shotgun.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Like that, I would lose my shit over.
Yeah, I'm excited for me personally. I'm excited for Bungie to just be branching out to other things because I know like Halo did a lot of books. If I remember,
yeah, I used to freak out over Halo books. I own a lot. That was one of the things I love lore about.
That's something I don't get. Why would you want books?
Just to go further in. I love it.
I mean, like
it's like extended stories of what the game's not. You know, I don't know. I'd be totally down for Destiny books. He's gonna roast me somehow. What is he?
He's grabbing examples. I don't know what it is, but I do want your example, man.
It's just like in Halo, you get the story of Master Chief, you know, the games and all that, and then you get the books, and that's like their lore behind like everything. You get the whole the Spartan 2 program, the original Spartan program, Sergeant Johnson. It's just important.
Did you?
But it's just it's awesome.
I didn't play Halo.
You said Spartan.
I thought you said the
Spartan. Spartan.
So like
it's a YN.
As far as books go, like this is the sweet spot for me. Like Callus's book.
Oh yeah.
Issa Thesaurus, Cade's book. Like anything more than that, I would get a little annoyed with, if I'm being entirely honest, because I don't want to have to go out and buy a book. I don't want to go out and buy a $10, $20 book and then have to like take a highlighter and like highlight the important passages and then transcribe the book and have it on the website so I can use a search program to find the thing that I'm looking for. Like it adds way too much to it.
Yeah.
Oh, goddamn.
I could see.
Go ahead. Memento real quick. I just want to say welcome to everybody from the DCP raid. Thank you, Tefty, and everybody. So we should probably talk for a little bit longer.
I guess we can go on just a tad bit longer.
We're on right now the book stuff, and I'm really
a sword.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
I want that.
See, made of Alamkara bone.
I think that there's a lot of people that are going to get the webcomic series and actually like Mana, who were obsessed with the Halo books, and actually like really appreciate them. Yeah. Like maybe there's a different media that they like. I know for you, Anon, it like really puts a strain on like the way that you research lore, and it makes it more difficult for those who don't want to buy books to actually find the information that they want to maybe. But I know that there are people who like different mediums of finding out lore, and so I think that some people will enjoy those stories. Hove, Triton, do you guys have any opinions on this?
I think it'd be cool. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, it's a lot to have to do, to go buy a book and everything. But I think it would be cool if it's completely like ancillary. Like it's extra. It's off to the side. You don't need it to enjoy the games. If you just want more of the universe. Do you know what I mean? I think that's
more or researching, I guess, like back and forth between those two. Because you dig up the lore and then you just kind of that's where it is. You know, that's why I want to like take the lore, bring it into something bigger. Like there's the books, you know, like I want the story with it as well. And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved all the books.
Yeah.
Like that's like my biggest issue with fan fiction made by the community. Like, you know, like it's fine, you know, you can make your things, but like when you write a good story, people start thinking that's actually lore. And they're like, oh, this actually happened. I'm like, it didn't. And they're like, no, but I read it somewhere. It's not in the grimoire.
You know what I love about that though is like Lazy Summerstone just wrote like the thing about Lewis like jittering, how it always glitched in screen, and he like wrote it into comic form, and then
they patched it out.
Yes, and then they patched it out, but then one of the developers at Bungie like retweeted it. It was like, I still consider this lore. Like, can we just consider just this page Bungie lore, please?
He had a new one that I saw. And absolutely shout out to him and shout out to Destiny Comart on Twitter. Like all the artists in there, they're amazing. They do amazing things. But he specifically had a new one about the Prometheus lens being sold, and it's like Xur is at home and he's eating a bowl of milk and strange coins, like instead of cereal. And Bungie comes banging on the door and they're like, "Hey, can you sell Prometheus lens tomorrow? Thank you."
Oh, it's amazing. Triton, did you have any thoughts on the webcomic stuff?
Well, I'm interested. You know, I think I don't really collect comics a lot, but I mean, Hov and I have been talked together after movies and stuff like that, and we talk a little bit like with Marvel or DC, things like that. So I probably would read it, I suppose.
It was like we do.
We're friends.
What?
Well, another thing that it made me think of. I don't know if any of you guys will be familiar with it, but Coheed and Cambria. Any of you guys familiar with that band?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hagrid.
He's making dots that Hove hasn't connected yet.
Hagrid?
The guy from Coheed and Cambria played Hagrid in Harry Potter.
Oh.
I mean, he kind of has the big hair, but he didn't. That definitely didn't happen.
Sure.
But no. Anyway, they have.
But it's on a Reddit post.
All of their.
I read a story about it. It was really detailed.
All of their albums, if you ever really listen to them, like the lyrics aren't about like love and you know and girls and whatever. They all tell a story in order, and so then they started coming out with comics that went with them, and like the one, it was really cool because the first one I got, the very last, and this is probably all sounds really lame to anyone who's never listened to them, but it's really like concept albums, really deep, crazy stuff, and it's this like space opera. And at the very beginning of the first song on their first album, it starts off with this weird voice like giggling and then saying Shabooty. And the very first comic, the very last scene was these two babies like playing with each other. And one of them said, you know, because babies talk nonsense, Shabooty. So it was like that intro comic then led off, like ended with the beginning of like the albums. Do you know what I mean? Like it was this cool like concept that went with it. And it was, I don't know, it was really interesting. It'd be cool if they did something like that, I think.
You said that they don't sing about love though?
Well, I mean, it's not like singing about his ex-girlfriend.
The only one that I can think of was is Welcome Home, which says like, you could have been all I wanted, but you wanted nothing, so get in the ground.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's this story. Like, that in itself is a part of this story. Do you know what I mean?
Like, oh, you don't want to date me? Guess you're gonna die then.
I mean, it has to do with like the end of the world and all kinds of crazy stuff.
No, I like that kind of stuff where there's like accompanying pieces. There's a game out there. If you guys haven't played this game, I thought it was amazing. I'm not gonna remember the name of it now. It was a Swedish horror game that came out on iOS.
Horror game?
Horror game.
Also yes.
Also yes.
I'm not. It was 2 words, and I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm gonna have to look at it and find it. But basically, it had this like story throughout it that was very themed for that culture. And then when you finish the game like doesn't end, and it says something about like download this app, or somehow in the notes somewhere in the lore to like there's another app out there that is like a companion thing, and you download that, and it's a blog basically, or like a journal of the person who is writing the game. And it like continues the game in real life, but not really, but kind of. And it's like, I don't know, this crazy interconnected thing of different mediums. Like you're playing the game and then you're reading the journal, and it like all intertwines somehow. And I just got so sucked into it, and it actually made the game actually horrific by the end of it because it felt real. I don't know. So different mediums can play out really cool.
That also, as of something right now, it's not really quite the same, but you know, you guys are familiar with the Disaster Artist that just came out.
Yeah.
The movie James Franco did about The Room, the movie that Tommy Wiseau did, blah, blah, blah. He put up a billboard that was just like the billboard that Tommy Wiseau put up in Hollywood when the movie came out. And there's a phone number on it. And if you call it, I'm sure not all the time, but James Franco was answering the phone as Tommy Wiseau, like playing the character. So like if you call this number on the billboard, it's like, oh, you want to see the movie? Call this number. And James Franco was like answering it. So it was like, it's kind of the same. It's like more content to go with the movie.
See, I like stuff like this. Yeah, that's why I think like another reason I think the webcomics are kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it.
There's a game that has like this impossible task of collecting things that if you collect them all, you get a phone number to call. And I'm pretty sure the phone number, you can still call it today.
What?
But if you call it, it's essentially like a thank you message from the developer saying like, hey, thanks for like playing our game at an obsessive level. That's like really cool of you. And like, because obviously no one would just like look online for an Easter egg that one person in the world did. Only the people who would actually achieve this would be calling this number right now. You're the real player. Like he's just like really making you feel bad about it because like, you know.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, let's jump into the TWAB then, since we have like a few things here to talk about. Not the TWAB, all you DC.
Oh yeah. Now that there's a Poppy Bear, Pop Bear, I think is his name,
I think it's French.
He's in chat, so yeah, it's definitely TWAB for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's TWAB.
No, it is TWAB if it is also GIF.
Oh, we can't go there, guys.
Oh, well, too political.
Can't, yeah, like we're gonna take sides. People are gonna get hurt.
Did you ever see the tweet? It was on like World's Dumbest Tweets. It's somebody tweeted, "Is it pronounced?" And this is in text. Is it pronounced GIF or GIF? But it was just GIF or GIF. And somebody responded with, "I think it's GIF." And the girl was like, "That's what I thought." I was like, "What?"
That's great.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Legitimate. If you say GIF, then you can call it THWAB. But if you say GIF, then you're calling it the right name, TWAB.
See, I can't.
Political. This is how we get banned off Twitch. We can't.
Yeah. See, I can't even go there. It's too much for me. It's like, yeah.
Scubba.
So the TWAB we got, or TWAB, whatever. TWAB.
This week at Bungie.
We have the Dawning coming back, which is like the biggest thing in there. We already talked about the webcomic. But in the Dawning, there's like a separate link. If you click on there, see what that entails, and you click on it, and it's all this info about the Dawning. And the biggest thing to me, right off the top, Mayhem coming back to PvP,
about Mayhem,
which is so exciting for me. Like I've been like, I wanted something to like spice up the Crucible to like get it like really fresh feeling again. And Mayhem coming back, I feel like it's gonna be huge. I don't know how it's gonna feel with 4v4. But I'm excited about it. I
mean, I think it was an easy way to just put some excitement nonsense back into Crucible without having to worry about like balance or anything.
We need some nonsense.
Exactly.
I think there's going to be a lot of golden gunners.
Maybe.
I mean, we pretty much had Mayhem this weekend, right? I mean, Prometheus Lens, laser tag.
A version.
Which was fun. I found it so much fun.
Well, like in that sense, I didn't quite mean like Mayhem with a capital M. I just meant like Mayhem. Like, haha, get it? Double one. That was bad.
I get it.
It was a bad joke. But no, I think it'll be fun. I always liked it. Do you think it'll stay 4v4?
What'd you say, man?
Oh, it's like every now and then, just having something crazy like that. It is refreshing fun, you know? So
yeah.
I hope it doesn't
I'm thinking it's a 4v4. I don't think they'll switch it up.
I don't think so either. Like not yet.
Maybe they'll too early. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be an easy way to test out 6v6 on those maps and their matchmaking and everything.
The maps are so small though. I feel like it would be like insta die, you know?
I mean, some of them, but some of them are just as big as ones that were in D1, I think.
Yeah.
I think I just want to shoot.
There's no word of SRL though.
You know what there is word of though is there's word of, because right before this happened. Okay, so right before, I know, but I got to bring it up. Right before the TWAB came out, or even the day before, I can't remember. Destiny Trials Report tweeted out and Ishtar Commander, the app for the phone, they were like, hey, so we found some rumblings of like some rumors, and it was like hinting that Rumble and Mayhem were coming back. Like they found text for it in the update. And then right after that, Mayhem gets announced. The only thing that wasn't announced was Rumble. And if there's, I don't know, it's leading me to believe that it's coming, and I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, but I'm really excited for that. And if they're doing that, maybe there's a chance for 6v6, like you were saying, Hove, if they're doing,
seeing how things work
free-for-alls.
Yeah.
But what if Mayhem is dawning only?
Yeah.
Didn't it say something that made me feel like it was?
Yes, they did.
They said how it would be hot enough to melt off the ice or something like that. They're sort of implying that it's a dawning thing.
Yeah, keep your blood warm and your heart pumping in the Crucible, because it's cold. And
so what if the Rumble is another live event edition? So Rumble isn't back. It's just, hey, for this month, here's Rumble.
Lego would be really happy for like 2 podcasts.
For like 2 exactly, yes. Mayhem and Rumble, I feel like those are 2 things. Like Rumble is my self-improving. I can play it all the time by myself. And then Mayhem is my, I'm going to forget about everything and just go have fun. And then Trials is my, okay, let's get a team together and go hard,
I thought Trials was casual.
Oh, no. Trials is...
I could have sworn Quick Play was the go hard and Trials was the casual.
Maybe
Depends
so.
on how much you care about winning.
I guess mindset-wise.
Last weekend... It was probably casual. It was really crazy.
It was fun.
It was mayhem.
See? Did you
you guys missed out if you haven't tried it.
No, did you play just for fun, Mana, or did you do Trials Help?
I didn't do Trials Help. I just did it literally just for fun, and it was great.
See, I didn't. I had a busy weekend. I unfortunately didn't get to do it. I suck.
I did it, and it was fun. I didn't go flawless, but we went like I probably would have if we would have reset the card, but we lost on like the second game. And we were like, oh, we'll just play them for fun, whatever, And then we went 7-1. We were like, crap, we should reset, But it was with like Mighty Guy and Windler, and we were just playing around and just melting everyone. It was really fun.
Who was the second one?
I don't know. Some maybe mod in your
poor Wendler.
I don't know.
Wendler.
The one kid we picked up on the way to San Diego.
Then not only Mayhem coming back, but we've got... So that's like a PvP thing, and then they have a PvE thing, which this is really funny, but Snowballs. Not just... They mentioned Snowball fighting in the Dawning update previously, but now Snowballs and Strikes are like an object that you can pick up and throw and stun people with, and then like it does extra damage. But it's like...
Did you see them?
Yeah, they look huge.
Look at basketball.
Like that big cannonball snowballs.
That is not okay.
I love huge balls.
They are breaking the rules of a casual snowball fight.
Hey, they're guardians. Okay, maybe they use some space magic to get these snowballs together. All right.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, that's true. The light.
Well, maybe they're just dodgeballs covered in snow.
I like the timing of it because it's kind of like, hey, here's some new goofy stuff to do because we're not going to be here. Yeah, that's another thing I mentioned, that this is the last TWAB of the year, correct?
Yeah.
They're going on winter break, so they won't be back.
They come back like early January.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's cool to get, we just got Curse of Osiris, a week and 2 days ago.
Yeah.
We got the new raid, get this stuff, have some mayhem that should help tide people over through the break. So I'm looking forward to it. Overall, I think a lot of the stuff that they've announced recently has been in the right direction, and I'm much happier since the day the raid layer released than I was before that. I mean, and I tweeted this, as soon as I started seeing reactions to it, it was like the most positive I'd seen Twitter about Destiny 2 since like the week of launch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything was really not everything, but everyone seemed to be a little bit more with it and with what they were doing and happy about it. So I'm optimistic about the direction in the future.
They really nailed the release window of Curse of Osiris, where it was just like, we got Curse of Osiris, and then we got the raid layer, and then we got Masterworks, and now we have the Dawning, and it's just like something that's always like, before it can even get stale,
like
you have
snowball effect.
Speaking of timing of stuff, though, that's probably something we should mention. Their change on how they allow content to DLC and non-DLC owners, because I think what I mean. How they
the prestige stuff.
Mm-hmm. That is something else that happened this week. Yeah,
because timing wise, it seemed okay to us, but if you were a PC player and you just got the game a month and a half ago, and now they took away half of it, that's pretty shitty.
Yeah, which they've addressed since then and said, we're redoing everything to where you can play Trials, you can play Nightfall, you can, you'll be able to play these events like Iron Banner and the Faction Rally if it's for
not
everything.
Doesn't take place on a map that's indicative of the
exactly. If the Nightfall's like on a new map, then you can't do it. Other than that,
and they backed off some of the light levels for stuff.
Yeah,
too.
They scaled it back down.
Which I know people are mad on both sides about that. I'm kind of indifferent. Like, it's like, oh, we have to wait a little bit, but there's plenty of other stuff to do right now. I'm not like upset about it too much, but I know some people were like, man, like it was this way in D1, like just deal with it.
It was slight differences though.
I sort of see their logic behind it because it was like that in D1, but the difference is it was like that in D1 when they were like taking King, everything is back there, and now everything is moving forward. And then you had a year, not 2 months, a year, and then it switched again. Then it turned off and it turned on moving forward. So it's like people had their fill of it. People were ready to move on to the next expansion. It wasn't like people are still like, I don't know if I like this game yet. I might not get the expansion. And it's like, oh, what the fuck? Everything's gone already?
Yeah.
Like it just...
Well,
and could you imagine? Other people have brought this up, but could you imagine like opening up your like Christmas present, your kid, and you got Destiny, and you didn't have the expansion, you put it in, and you can't do like any of the in-game stuff. Like I get that
because even with
absolutely
with D1, wasn't the original system a little bit closer to this? Like you could do the Nightfall unless it was Omnigul.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just a really bad combination of it was the snowball effect in that way too.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Because like all the negativity surrounding the game, and then PC just had come out, and then this happens, and it was just bad timing. And it's good that they addressed it and are at least changing it in some way.
Yeah, I'm with you, Anon, on the pacing of things. I'm like really satisfied right now as like a Bungie player, like Destiny player. I'm like, okay, I just had all that happen, and now Masterworks is happening. They're telling me about the Dawning, and I'm getting Mayhem and this strike stuff. I'm already enjoying heroic strikes again, and now I get to throw snowballs at things. Maybe that'll be fun. Maybe I can hit my teammates, like I can throw something at Hove. That's gonna be really fun.
I can't wait for that one person before they leave to accidentally like hit an extra 0 that makes snowballs like one-shot bosses, and then they're just gone. They're just gone. They're like, oh
well, it's Christmas. See ya.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy those easy Nightfall runs.
That'd be so much fun, though.
It'd be fun for a while, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
just obliterating everything in your path with giant.
I just want to be able to team kill. If I can team kill Hove, that'd be great.
The snowballs launch you out of the map.
Let's be honest. I would demolish you.
Yeah, we would not progress at all. Any strike.
No PvE stuff would ever get done.
All right, we're going to the farm. We're having a snowball battle. All right.
REZOcast snowball battle.
This is gonna happen. Yes, REZOcast.
Where's Pope Bear? Is he still in chat talking shit? We'll take you on in a snowball battle.
Yeah, Pope Bear podcast showdown snowball fight has got to be one of the activities. Let's do it.
I'm really interested about the possibilities of an actual snowball fight though, because in those images you see armor covered in snow.
Okay, I got something to say about that because I saw that too, and I was like, oh, is it gonna be like something that happens like in game that makes you get snow on yourself? But then in the last image where you see them playing hockey or whatever. Instead of soccer.
Which is just soccer with a flat ball.
Yes, you see one of the people with the gear and it's all snowed out and everyone else looks fine. It's like the gear
was that
itself.
One person just hit with a snowball?
A good point. It could be. I thought maybe it was just gear, but you're right. Maybe they just got hit by a snowball.
If that's like, what if that's how it was like implemented? So you can actually have a snow. It's like, oh, you got hit, you're out. Like you're playing dodgeball, and when you get hit, you get snow.
I like this.
That'd be so cool.
I hope that's what it is.
Or do you think you lock in as one of those
ornaments?
Ornaments, yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Maybe
like a snowy ornament.
Yeah.
Although
that'd be cool too.
I don't know which I'd want more.
I know they're both good. I like both of these.
Let's get it all.
Yeah. Especially because after this event, if you still have that ornament, it's like, oh, it's not snow. I just got through trials.
This is
It's
salt.
melted. You're just dripping wet the entire time.
This is salt from my ears. All right,
Just
my
sweating.
eyes. Why did I say ears? That was weird.
Ears? I don't know.
What?
Your
Look
ears
at
sweat.
What? I don't know what
really
I'm
know
saying.
what's happening.
Okay, there's something else with the dawning too. Every day there's an event that will be some kind of gifting quest thing.
Yeah.
And it said every day in there there'll be a new gift thing to do, and it sounds like a quest, mini quest type thing, kind of like.
Did it say every day, or did it say that you can do it every day?
It said you can do it every day, but it made it sound like there'd be a new thing.
I feel like you can do it once a day for every NPC, and then once you run out of NPCs, it's just done.
Oh, huh. No, I took it as there's gonna be every day this thing is basically a reason to log in every day, at least once
I hope
to do
so.
this thing. I think because a lot of people have been asking for that, and I think Bungie wants people to be playing right now, and so here's like an incentive during the dawning to do that, other than milestones, weekly stuff.
Which segue? Milestones? No.
You hit it. You
because the dawning engrams are being moved as to a milestone item, so you're essentially guaranteed. What is it like? There's 7 milestones now.
Okay, I actually skipped that part or something. I don't know.
You get you get 7 dawning engrams a week if you do Nightfall, Raid, Crucible, Strikes, Flashpoint, Clan. So maybe it's 6.
Okay, that's cool though. I like that.
So
nice.
It's like you play the game to get the gear. They're trying to make it more accessible, and I feel like because everyone's always like, "Oh, it's the dawning. It's all about Eververse and making."
Yeah.
Like no, they're like it's about Eververse, but they're trying to make it more about the game too.
I like that.
You can't actually get something out of it without having to rely on Eververse. So that's actually pretty nice.
That's good because I got to get another Hot Lana since I deleted mine.
It's a little slow, but it's got a thermal sight, like the Haka thermal sights on it.
I hate
it. I want to try this gun.
I
like it because with the Eternal Blazon, that also has a thermal sight. I love having double thermal, so I can always see.
I didn't know that. I need to check
to carry me during all this stuff because I'm so far behind.
I'm telling you, man, it's a good time.
Weapon parts. I just got every weapon there is.
There was something else the Eververse stuff. So and so not only is all that going to be in there with the engrams and the milestones, but also they're bright engrams. Yeah. Not only that, but you're also Eververse is going to rotate out throughout the 3 weeks to where the way I understood it explained is basically anything that you want from the dawning, you're at some point going to have a chance to purchase it with Bright Dust from Eververse.
That's
like if you're well, no. Listen to what I'm saying, because right now stuff rotates out during a season and you may not see it, but there's basically the right amount of stuff where every week when it rotates out, at some point you're going to have a chance to buy whatever it is from the dawning that you want from the silver dust that you've collected over the several bright engrams that we've got. Like if you have some silver dust flesh, just save it for a little bit because there might be a specific thing from the dawning that you want, and you'll be able to just pick it out instead of earning it. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there as like a possibility. So if you have your bright dust and you're thinking about buying something right now from season 2, just hold on to it for the dawning just for a little bit more. I'm not talking about silver that you pay for. I'm talking about bright dust from you get it from engrams or from
get a ghost?
Not this time.
Oh, also don't go buying the Eververse consumable thing, the like Crucible or Vanguard consumable, because that's just for shaders. I was very upset.
You didn't get anything?
I got shader. I got a pack of shaders. I gave a pack of shaders to everyone in the Crucible match, and I was like, I just spent 450 bright dust for this.
Oh man, I really wanted to see like everybody get an exotic at once.
I was like, is this like emotes and stuff? Because if I see people like so and so got sweeper emo, and I got this ghost, like even if it was I got a ghost and they got an exotic emo, I'd be like, it's fucking awesome. Like go this, but nah, it's this little pack of shaders.
Weird. I didn't. There's so much I don't understand how it works right now with all the new stuff that's been implemented.
I don't understand anything.
However, the stuff that Zavala and Shaq sell, the gift consumables, because when you like get a round of weapons or a round of exotics, those are always really nice. And those are hella cheap. They're like 10 legendary marks. Don't waste them on Rahul. He's an asshole. He doesn't give you anything.
Is an asshole.
Did anybody else accidentally buy the legendary Ingram that Raul sells because you thought that it was an Ingram?
Yes.
That you need.
I was like, what is this thing? Like I only bought once. I bought it once and backed out. I was like, wait, did I just? I went back.
I did the same thing.
I was like, oh, why do I have this other one? Click. Oh, damn it.
It was like, oh, I just bought 25 of them.
That's because he's a shyster.
I was like, I had no idea.
No, you didn't do it.
No.
Oh, God, man.
I didn't keep on going.
I
I went out
like,
it was probably like 3 times. I went out like 3 times.
I have another one, and you click it and you open it again. You did that 25 times.
But
I did it
like
at
3 or
least
4
twice.
times.
I did it at least twice, maybe 3 times.
I almost did it the second time, but it was one of those. You know how there's like a delay in like the screen changing. I like tried to click again. It didn't like register it. I was like, oh no, that's that thing I did last time, idiot. Don't do it again. I did it
early tonight. On. Oh, really? Well, I did it like early on the first time. I clicked on it again. And I was like, oh, I had an extra one. Just backed out immediately. I didn't know there is still a thing there. And then I did something and I came back and I did it again. Just like it was there again. And I came back and then I was like, you can. Oh. That's. I was like, it was just one more Ingram. That I got. I was like, okay, back out real quick. Like,
I love it.
Cat's making fun of me, you know.
Making fun of all of us. We all fell for it. Triton, did you fall for that? No?
No, I haven't really played a ton, to be honest, though, so I haven't really...
But you played
never noticed
that Ingram. Yeah,
yeah, I played enough to see that Engram, but
okay.
I don't know, I just ignored it.
Do you know who Rahul is?
Yeah, that asshole at the Cryptarch guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just making sure. Well, guys, thank you, chat, for hanging out. Thank you, Anon, for coming on. We really appreciate you being on the show. Guys, this has been a great episode. This has been Lego, aka Legole Flash. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube at Lego LE Flash. Anon, where can they find you, man? Where can they find you online? Around the web. I know he's super distracted by chat right now.
I was looking at chat, which is not moving, because I was like, what is this blank space? Because like I guess someone's name is white text, and I don't use night mode because I'm not an awful person. And but
yeah,
I forgot your question again.
No, tell me about where we can find you on social media and any other lore type stuff you may be involved in.
So social media, I'm just at AnonPig, ANONPIG. And I tweet lore, not lore stuff from there. Sometimes I help out Mylan Game, help out isn't exactly the right word. Sometimes I work with Mylan Games on lore videos, and I have a podcast that's still in hiatus, Destiny Lorecast. That's at Destiny Lorecast on Twitter. We should be coming back. It's trying to work out how we're gonna do it. Like with all the changes to the lore, we're just like, that's just weird. Like we don't have it as easily as we did anymore.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now it's a new format.
Soon. Hashtag soon.
Yeah, soon. I'm trying to. I feel like I'm forgetting something though.
We can come back. We can come back too. Go ahead.
I'm in a bunch of Discords too. So if you see me in Discord and you're like, "Oh, you're that lore guy," just like ask me a lore question. I'll make everyone in the Discord uncomfortable with how much they're like, "Oh, I was unaware of that."
I would love every moment.
Like us
so
tonight.
The man is all in. Get in my Discord.
Hove,
it's so awesome.
I don't even know how to follow that. That was such a good, robust amount of places. Twitter and Twitch. Hove76, HOV76. I do, apparently. So that's what someone tells me.
That's what all the followers tell him every once in a while. And they're like, hey, stream again.
Oh, yeah, that's true. When everyone goes, I thought you used to stream sometimes.
Mano, what about you, man?
You can find me mainly on Twitch, streaming anything from single-player and multiplayer games almost every single day. And follow me on Twitter at both the Manigator, and I am planning on coming back posting highlights on my YouTube, which is also
no,
the man.
You're not.
I'm planning on doing
I
it.
believe it.
Is it like a real plan, or is it like the Hove once a year plan?
No, it's real. It's real. I want to get back into at least highlights. At least my highlights.
What is Hove doing once a year?
He posts a video like once a year. I think like the last 2 videos. One this year, yeah.
That's why I don't talk about my YouTube anymore. Move on, Triton. Move on.
Triton, what about you? Yeah, you're laughing.
Well, probably mainly Twitter and sometimes Twitch. Triton, please, all one word. Please being PLZ, and yeah, that's it.
Sweet. Well, this has been REZOcast episode 64. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And you can find more about REZOcast at REZOcast, Team Resolute at teamresolute.com or at Team Resolute. And we'd appreciate if you enjoyed the episode. If you enjoyed all the lore, please go follow Anon. And yeah, if you enjoyed the episode, leave us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate it. Until next time, guys. GG.
GG.
Heavy re.
Oh God.
Heavy. Oh.